We are the Keyboard Samurai, a podcast focused on sharing insights to help those working in cybersecurity companies, be them technology or services. Each session, your host, Will Klusovsky, aka Will Clue, sits down with professionals in our industry to illuminate topics that will help your security biz, team, or self be better. Let's hack into it now. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Another exciting episode, Keyboard Samurai. As always, like and subscribe, please. Today, I am blessed with the presence of Kevin, super famous guy on the interwebs. Kevin, why don't you give us a couple 30 seconds of who you are and why we care?
Yeah, sure. I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for having me here. I greatly appreciate it. My name is Kevin. You can call me, or people find me as KevTech IT support. I do like help desk, system admin videos, cybersecurity videos. I'm a technical trainer. I also work as a senior SOC analyst, blue team for a financial firm. I come from a background working in fast food restaurant. Did 12 years in restaurant, 4 years in NYPD, and then I transitioned over to IT, and that's pretty much it for me. That's my background or my spiel.
That's a crazy journey. I think, you know what? I started in the service industry too. I think there's a lot of us, and then military, not police, but like I think there's a lot of commonality between sort of all of those industries leading people into security and IT. Part of it mostly dealing with being able to deal with all the stress. It's probably the biggest thing.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. There's always I think in my opinion, and it's just me, but and I'm talking about like if you have a help desk background, I think if you ever worked in a restaurant, you're like more grateful coming into help desk because it's not so bad compared to being in a restaurant or fast food. But actually, it's also a great transition over to help desk because you have that patience, and a lot of people don't understand is that we get paid to fix problems that people can't fix. They get paid to do their job.
Yeah.
So our job is to help them do their job, and our job is to help them fix their problems. So we get paid for that. So it's like, for me, and I always tell customers, and this is just me, and I always tell everyone, like, I'm glad you have problems, and I'm glad you give me problems because that means I'm able to do my job now, and I'm still able to work help us, right? So
Right.
I'm just grateful for that. That's just me, though.
It's job security. Like if if everything just worked, then you wouldn't need me to be here for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you have like a hack or vulnerability or something crazy happens, and then the CISO and the CTO, everyone's just staring at you. It's like, why are we paying you if we just got hacked, right? So it's like, you know what I mean, right? It's like, well, what the heck, right? Why are we paying you? You're not doing your job. But then when you have a firewall in place and, it's doing its job, and they're like, yeah, it's not doing anything,
Yeah.
But it is. You just don't know about it.
It's my mom used to have a sign in the kitchen. It said it was like housework is the only thing that nobody notices when it's done, only when it's not done, right? So it's the same kind of thing. We have nobody appreciates it when it's not done. I say all the time, like security should be boring. Like you don't want your CTO and your CEO to know who you are. If so, that means you're too busy, which means you're dealing with stuff you probably shouldn't be preventing.
Yeah, exactly. Like if something weird happens or something crazy happens, and obviously you're probably not doing your job. I'm just saying, like you last thing you want is this, like I always say, no news is good news. If you hear nothing from the CTO, then you're okay. If you hear something from them, you may be in trouble.
Yeah, that's not the call you want. Hey, we just want to bring you down here and tell you nothing's been going on. Thanks for doing such a great job.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't happen very much,
man. Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. And I always tell everyone too, like, being help desk, sysadmin, cyber, whatever job you work in IT, it's a thankless job. It's just people won't think it's hard for you to. I think it's super rare that I had someone say, "Oh, thank you for resetting my password." It's not.
Because they always just expect it's just supposed to work, right? Like that's the thing. It's just supposed to work. So if they have to call you, they're mad that it's not working. Why isn't it working? And it's never our fault, usually. Hopefully, it's not our fault.
Exactly. Like we don't like. one thing we don't one thing we do is and just IT help desk or whatever you work at, like, it doesn't matter what job you work at, is like, and I always tell everyone this as well, is like, you get a job, you work help desk, you work system admin, you do cyber, and then you get a job, you deal with customers, and it's just normal for you to have customers that are not tech savvy. They're not gonna know the technology, they're not gonna know the tech stack. They're not gonna know what AWS is, what GCP is, what Azure is. They don't know any of that stuff. All they care about is that they can do their job, and that's it. You work
Yeah.
a lot with these executives, these financial folks. Like, I worked at a lot of big firms like Blackstone Group, and those guys are like, those guys are like, I always say, they're like the Gordon Ramsays of IT, and you want to make sure that their stuff is working because they'll be screaming and yelling at you. And it's not because they're mad at you; it's more because they can't trade, they can't do their job. They're
Mhm.
using Bloomberg, using these crazy tools for God knows what they're doing with Excel. I'm not good at Excel, right? But like, they're doing some crazy stuff on Excel, and they're just trying to do their job at the end of the day. And it's like, if it doesn't work, obviously you're gonna hear from them. So it's like, come on, man, like, fix this problem. And it's like, I'm losing money because I can't do my job. So that's just
Right.
how they look at it. So when you're doing help desk, is like that, or when you're doing cybersecurity and you're working with vendors or security people, or you're working with people in IT or people that are not in IT, and you're working with these guys and vendors and just people in general, like, oh, I'm gonna mess with this guy. I'm gonna send him a phishing email and see what he does with this email. And then you send these emails, and then you send an email to Bob, and then Bob accidentally clicks on it, and Bob's like, oh, I clicked on it. I'm like, why did you click on it, Bob? Oh, it said $50 gift card. I thought I was gonna get $50, and then they click on it. It's just how it is.
No, but like I did a pretty good stint like in IT before I was in dedicated security, and that's where I learned that nobody cares, right? They just wanted, like you said, they just wanted to work. Like, I was so obsessed about, this was decades ago, like the mailbox size was getting too big. Why are you saving all these emails? Putting together these complicated, like, here's how you clean up your email, and here's how you should format, and they don't care because that's not their job. Their job is to, like, their email just needs to work. It just has to work. They have to be able to send things. And that's when I learned really early on that nobody cares about IT unless it's not working. So
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's what I told that's what I told a mentee of mine that I recently helped get a job in IT, and he just got his first job in IT, doing desktop support for a software slash fintech company. And he says, the more I work here, I realize more that they don't care about anything. They just want their stuff to work. And I'm like, I told you that. Like, from day one, I told you that they don't care about other stuff.
yeah.
They care about, can they do their job, and then all they care about is that, and all they care about too is like not a crazy explanation of how you fixed it, because they're not tech
Yeah.
savvy.
They
So you
don't
can't
care.
be like, oh yeah, I use a command line, I opened up terminal, I ran IP config flash renewed release. Now you have a brand new IP address, and there's an IP of 192. I think it's a subnet of 255. You're like, what the hell are you talking about? I just want to know if it's on the network. Okay, good. All right. So you
Can I work? It's
that.
like electricity. When I go in and flip the switch on in my house, I expect the lights to come on, and when they don't, I want the lights to come on. I don't care if they're not on, or the reason, or how it gets fixed. We just want it fixed. We're at a point now where that's really what it's about. It's just part of the business. It just has to work.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I realized, like, and this is just me, like, I'm not saying that help desk is the end all be all. This is just my opinion. This is maybe my opinion. Anyone could go into cybersecurity. I come from help desk cybersecurity.
Mm-hmm.
This is my opinion. Like, I come from help desk cybersecurity, and I think for me, because I have that lingo when it comes to talking to the executives, it's a lot easier for me to talk to executives because I come from a help desk background, and now I work cybersecurity, and I could talk to them like they're like my mom and dad, or I could talk to them in a way that it makes sense for them, because when it comes to like introducing a product, if you're going to introduce a SIM solution, and we're talking about CrowdStrike, 701, all these products out there, right? And oh, I want to tell this, I want us to install this solution or this endpoint NDR or whatever, on their machine, and then they're like, what does it do? Why do we need it? Or why do we want it? Right? And you have to explain it to them, and they don't know what you're talking about at the end of the day. And I always make this joke at the end of the day. They're like, oh yeah, let's just buy that coffee machine or the cappuccino machine over what you're asking for, because I have no idea what you're talking about. So you
Right.
have to be really good at explaining stuff. I call it the art of speaking IT, if that makes sense, in a way that is like, okay, Kev, that makes sense. We'll buy that. That makes sense. And put money in that. And how much money is it going to save me? Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I want that to work because if we get hacked or something crazy happens, we save that much money. But then if you don't explain that to them in a non-technical way, they'll be like, "Oh, this is boring. I don't want to hear any of that. It's just whatever coffee machine we want. Let's just buy that over whatever the hell you're explaining. I don't understand what you're talking about." So
No, it's funny because I had not. I talk a lot about that business translation because a lot in security, most of the people in security have come up through the technological ranks, and if they didn't stop and learn how to like, and you usually a lot of times you don't have to learn how to do that translation because you're kind of isolated from the business until you get to a point where you're like talking about risk and reporting back to the executives and building budgets. Like that doesn't happen, but that's pretty. I'd never thought about it that way because IT is doing the client facing stuff. Like if you're in the SOC, very rarely is anybody calling you. Like you don't get end users and stuff. You know, you're not dealing with that. You don't have to do that explanation. So that's pretty interesting take from that standpoint. Like the IT folks maybe have a little leg up at least being able to go like, well, no, we need this because if not, it's going to cost us X amount of money. And I always talk about like understanding the business. And it's like, hey, that machine over there makes us $100 a minute. If it goes away, you do the math. This technology that we're putting on is going to make that chance of that happen go very, very small, right? Like that's how you explain it.
yeah, no, that I had I've been super lucky or fortunate because I worked as a senior SOC analyst in one of my previous jobs, not the job I'm in right now. In the previous job, everyone was like interconnected with one another. So like I had to work with DevOps team, sysadmin team, the programmers, the developers, the sales engineer, like all the different
Mm-hmm.
departments. And then I'm talking about from them all the way to the C level executive C suite. And I had to explain to them in a non-technical way with these guys because I have the thing is you guys understand like with anyone that's watching this, you have to understand that you're working with the executive team in one aspect of IT or cyber, and then the other aspect of IT and cyber, if you've ever been a SOC analyst and you're doing audits, like you're doing the ISO 27001, you're doing SOC 2 Type 2 audits, unfortunately, and I'm just going to throw this out there, unfortunately, you have to create least privilege. So, like, you're going to work with these people that work IT or other departments of IT. You have to start putting like change control. You have to start doing your changes on the back end where they can no longer use their regular account to run certain things, especially if you're doing audits. Like I'm talking about audits, specifically audits. Like this is me. Like I worked at a smaller company
Mm-hmm.
where we got audited, and it's like, oh, okay, so like Kev, why the hell does this guy have admin rights? Or why the hell is he doing this on this? You know, like you have to like know how to implement certain things if you're gonna do like PIM or you're gonna do just-in-time access with Microsoft Azure, like whatever tech stack you're using, because if you get audited, you're gonna be in trouble because you have to explain to them like why the hell does this person have admin rights, or why the hell is this person, why the hell are their secret codes being leaked at GitHub or whatever? Like it has to make sense, right? So that's why I said like I like the fact that I have that weird background, like being help desk, or I did some sysadmin stuff too. So
Mm-hmm.
like when I got into cybersecurity and I became a SOC analyst, it wasn't so bad. Like it wasn't like because I already had a tech background,
Mm-hmm.
and it's harder for someone to and I'm not saying do help desk. I'm just saying it's harder for someone to go into cybersecurity if they don't have the fundamentals, if they don't know what operating systems are, they don't know what hardware is, they don't know what networking is, they don't know certain like fundamentals of IT,
Mm-hmm.
then it's gonna be hard for you to understand anything. It's just I'm just being
Yeah.
realistic.
No,
So
it's funny. Like I'm a big proponent of like I like when I did it 26 years ago, it wasn't a job, right? We were all in IT and then we became security people because there was a need. And so like you had that background and now you can go to school and become a cybersecurity, get a degree and whatever, like which again didn't exist. And I'm all for entry level people, but it's like you said, you have to have the fundamentals. There's the idea of once you're going to give you the keys, like, hey, here, go ahead and secure our entire world and our organization, but you don't understand networking or sysadmin stuff, right? Or identity and access management. Like you have to have those foundations. So, absolutely, can you train people to that? Sure, but you can't necessarily, like, you're not going to walk in one day and just, boom, here you go. Like you're the one responsible for it all.
Yeah, no, and the other thing that people don't talk about too is like you have to be trainable too. Like if you're gonna get a job in IT or cyber, like you have to have the ability to learn and the ability to learn and obtain information. Also, the ability to learn how to Google, and also the ability to like learn how to Google, but also like the ability to like, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but I'm saying like the ability to ask questions and just be proactive and just be there and like, okay. And personality is like very important because like if your personality sucks, it's like, why are we gonna hire you? Why am I gonna train you if you're gonna be like an asshole to the other team members? Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? So it's
right.
like you have to be trainable and you have to have a great personality too. Like I work with people, like I have people that I have worked with that are very tech savvy, super smart, but they're not the most sociable people in the world. They're not really good with executives, which is why they don't work with executives. They
Right.
just
That's why they're in the SOC.
Yeah, they just do their job, and that's it. I work with people like that, but then when you go into like the nitty gritty of stuff where you actually have to talk to people, you have to be like, those people you are good to train and work with because those guys could talk to people, right? So it's like you have to be very like, I'm not saying picky, but like when you have a team, if you're a manager and you have a team, who's good at what, right? You know who to move around, right? Like a basketball team, you know how to move around. You know who's going to be the point shooter. You know who's going to be the front guard. You know where to put everyone because everyone has own strengths and weaknesses. Certain people are good with executives and they're good at talking to people. Some people are not good at that. They belong in the back and doing back end stuff because they're not good at that, right? So it's like you have to be able to move people correctly, if that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, and I go back to it, personality is important. But like sometimes you have people that their personality is not so great, but they're really good at their job. So I gotta give them the benefit of the doubt because they're good at doing their job. So I'm just gonna leave it alone. They're good at their job. They're good at their job. What am I gonna do, right? So
yeah,
So yeah,
I've had a lot of being client facing most of my career. I would literally prep. Work with CISOs and CIOs most of the time, right? And they would want to. I'm a little more. I'm by no means polished, but I can at least have a conversation, right, without offending. Hopefully, not offending too many people. And they'll be like, well, I want to talk about this, these firewall rules and this BGP. And I was like, all right, basically, I'm going to go down and get the guy in the basement, who knows all this stuff. And he's smart as hell. And he's going to come up here and talk to you, but he's not me. He's just going to say what he thinks. He's going to answer your questions. He's going to be completely blunt because he's not a salesperson, right? He's not. And they'll come up and he'll call your baby ugly. Right. if you want to talk to him and get that information, it's fine. But I always preface that like that. And then, you try to coach because again, like, not everybody's job has to be doing that. Right. But again, you have to understand, like, there's a little precursor to, hey, if you want to talk to the really, really smart people that don't care about you, that's going to happen.
Yeah. And you have to understand too, like, I know there are people that do backend stuff. Like when you go up the food chain, as they say, and you go up and you move to director, manager, CISO, I don't know, CTO, whatever. Like as you move up, you have to be better at
it's more
talking
business than tech at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, at that point, you have to be good at talking to people. You cannot avoid it. It's just like, okay, I got to be good at talking to the CTO and also the executive team and also the board members and all these other people, because if not, it's going to be a problem, right? So that's the other thing. Like, it has to be good with that. That's because my job when I worked help desk, and I'm not trying to change the topic. When I worked help desk, I worked at a Japanese company, and I worked directly with the CEO. And when certain things wouldn't work, he'll come to me and ask me, like, hey, what the hell's going on here? Like, why is this not working? And I had to be on my feet and try to figure out the problem on the fly. There's no, let me create a ticket and escalate it to all other team members. I can't do that.
No.
Physically impossible for me to do that. because I'm the guy that they're looking at for everything. So I had the CTO, the CFO, the CIO, all the CCCC level people asking me questions, and I have to think on my feet, and I cannot be like, oh yeah, I don't know what that is, or I don't know what, like, you can't say that. Yeah, you can't say that. And it's like, all right, let me figure that out. And then, with them is like, the thing with me is like, I build a good reputation with them to the point that they trust me good enough for me to, okay, give me some time to figure it out, and I'll get back to you. I don't want to BS you. Oh, this does that. I don't want to bullshit you either. I'm not gonna do that. So it's like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? Like, I'm gonna tell you how it is. So it's like, okay, but not in a disrespectful manner.
Yeah.
And more respectful approach, like, hey, listen, like, your computer is not working right now because you haven't restarted in like 90 days, and that computer needs an update right now, and it's asking for an update, and it's taking you 10 minutes to print because it hasn't been rebooted in 90 days. But on top of that, there are pending updates on it. So like, I don't want to be a jerk or anything, but like, you're gonna have to wait. I don't want to be a jerk or anything. That's just like, you kept like postponing updates because you want to do your job, but now it's time to do updates, right? Yeah, exactly. So like, I would tell like the CFO, hey, listen, like, I don't want to be a pain in the ass, but like, I also don't want to disrupt your work at the same time. Like, I give you a loaner laptop, and then we could put a docking station together, and you can work with that for the time being. Or if you want, I'm gonna give you an early lunch. Go get breakfast, come back,
go there,
do your thing, come back, go to a meeting, do whatever the hell you have to do, come back, and the update should be done, and then you can use your computer again.
Yeah,
so that's just how I approach things. That's just me.
I think that's a good bit of advice, because the C-suite and even most of the executives, VPs and above, will all like, they will find somebody in the help desk or in the security team or whatever who's their person, and they'll just go to them. Like, you won't be like, put a ticket in, they'll come to you. And I'd say if you can establish yourself in that role, that's a pretty good thing to do.
Yeah.
Kev, dude, it's been awesome chatting with you. I could talk with you forever. So easy.
Yeah, definitely.
But gotta run. So where can people find you on the interwebs should they want to?
Oh yeah, you could find me as KevTech IT Support. I'm on YouTube, KevTech IT Support. You could find me as Kevin Apolinario. I have a website. Literally, it's the same as my username, KevTechITSupport.com. Twitter, KevTech IT Support. Instagram, KevTech IT Support as well. So yeah, you guys can find me online. I'm everywhere on social media. Always happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it. We could talk literally.
We'll probably do this. We'll probably set up another one. I think.
Yeah, I could literally do Halloween help desk horror stories. It's like, this is literally the week of October, so it's like I could do that if I wanted to, but we're not gonna do that today.
That's great, Kev. Thanks for coming, man. Really appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks for enjoying Keyboard Samurai Podcast. If you'd like to engage, find Will on LinkedIn at /WillClue or visit at willclue.me. That's WILKLU.me for more info. Disconnecting now. Synac you later.